Good morning, dear students of class 8. Today, history chapter 2 from trade to territory. I am discuss with you our next point and next part. So our next part is Lord Dalhousie and his expansionist policy. Okay, this is our today's discussion part. Lord Dalhousie and his expansionist policy. So, and here is a picture of Lord Dalhousie. Okay. Lord Dalhousie became the Governor General from 1848 to 1856. So, in this year, who became the Governor General? Lord Dalhousie. He introduced a new system of annexation through his policy called the Doctrine of Lapse. Okay. So, he introduced one new policy. It was Doctrine of Lapse. And now what is Doctrine of Lapse? This doctrine proclaimed that if an Indian ruler died without leaving behind a natural heir, his territory would automatically lapse and come under the British. Okay, so what is Doctrine of Lapse? Actually, this is one type of policy. So here actually written or here actually told that if any king have no male child, not female, have no male child, then he have to be given his territory to the Britishers after his death. After the death of the king, if there is no, if he has no any male child or son, 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 then his territory is captured by the Britishers. Satara, Nagpur, Jhansi and many other kingdoms were annexed under this policy, since it not allow adopted heir to come to the throne. So if anyone adopted any male child, so it was not actually claimed that he is his own child. So adopted child actually not get the property, not get the throne or not become the king. Next, Dalhousie and Awadh. Dalhousie introduced another policy. So after Doctrine of Lapse, he introduced another policy. He began annexation territories on the pretext of misgovernance. So if in anybody's territory or anybody's area, if anyone not follow the government rules, then also they captured their territory. The Nawab of Awadh, Wazid Ali Shah, was one such ruler who was accused of misrule, misgovernance and reluctance to introduce reforms. So the Nawab of Awadh, Wazid Ali Shah, this is the picture of Wazid Ali Shah. Wazid Ali Shah was one such ruler, was accused of misrule. That means he not used the rules and regulations of the government. So for that reason, his territory also taken. Awadh was annexed on this pretext in 1856. So, as per that policy, Awadh was taken or annexed in 1856. This led to a lot of anger in the Indian soldiers in the British Army, as many of them hailed from Awadh. So, for that reason, Indian soldiers became very angry. This was also one of the reasons for the uprising of revolt later. So for that reason, in later time, revolt was happened. Now our next okay. Now this is the Indian map and this is the expansion of the British India in 1797. This is the period and this is the another scenario, expansion of the British in India 1857. See the differences. Okay, so in 1797 British only means ruled over only these areas, because here yellow portion is written that areas under British rule and the red portion areas not under British rule. So in 1797 very just a little portion only for a few areas actually under the British rule, but in 1857 see the scenario how it was changed, areas under the British, this yellow portion, so it's huge area. Okay, so this is huge area and areas not under British rule, this area only. So that means they captured slowly and they expansion their area. Now administration under the British. So the British introduced a proper structure of administration. So as they were ruled at that time, so that's why they have given one structure and they told that this should be followed. Actually, the annexation policies of the British brought so many territories under their control that a uniform administrative structure became a must. Okay, so they actually the annexation policy, whatever their policies is that how they captured the territories, they captured the territories. So that policy actually of the British brought so many territories, and for when they follows that policies, after that they brought so many territories or areas under their control. Annexation and consolidation go hand in hand. An administrative structure streamlines everything for the ruler. Okay, so what is the meaning of the streamlines? The streamline means they actually follow some rules and regulations. Okay, so that is why annexation and consolidation go hand to hand and administrative structure streamlines everything. So that means administrative structure follow every rules and regulations. Okay, here we need to understand that since the rulers did not belong to the country, they did not care about the welfare of the common people. So that means they didn't think about the common people, that how they can be safe, how means welfare actually welfare for social actually what is actually they didn't care about the welfare of the common people. That means what they basically need. Okay, if they are in the society, then what they basically need. So for that they can't be bothered. The British East India Company was only worried about its profit and its control over the territory. So that means though British and East India Company only they worried about their profit only, not they bothered about the common people. The daily administration was carried on by number 1 civil services for general administration, number 2 army for military purposes, number 3 policies for law and order, number 4 judiciary for justice. So these all are the system of the administration, or the Delhi administration was carried on by these 4 things. Okay, so now Warren Hastings was one of the key figure. That means important. Okay. Important figure whose effort significantly helped in expansion of company influence. That means Warren Hastings was one of the key figure, very important figure, whose effort actually his work, his effort significantly helped the expansion of the company influence. During his period as the Governor General, Bombay, Bengal and Madras was under the control of the company. The territories under British control were divided into presidencies. Okay, so they divided their territories in few presidencies. Okay, which were administrative units. So those presidencies were the administrative unit. Now, Bombay, Madras and Bengal were the three presidencies ruled by governor. So, who ruled on the presidencies? The governor. And if asked that name the three presidencies, so Bombay, Madras and Bengal were the three presidencies ruled by a governor. Now our Warren Hastings was the first Governor General of Bengal. You have to be remember this, that who was the first Governor General of Bengal? Warren Hastings was the first Governor General of Bengal, and this is the picture of Warren Hastings. Now the civil service. Okay, civil services. Lord Cornwallis was the one who started the civil services with the purpose of administration India. So, how the administration part can be going very means very nicely. So, for that reason, they have taken the taken few exams, and this one of the exam was happened at that time. The Lord Cornwallis was one who started civil services exam. He laid down strict rules and regulations that had to be followed by the civil service officials. So he means he followed, or he given some strict rules and regulations that should be followed by the civil service officers. To train civil servants or newly recruited civil service officer, Wellesley set up the Fort William College at Calcutta in 1801. Okay, so you know that when Fort William College is there in Calcutta, we know the name, and who was set up? Lord Wellesley was set up when 1801. The East India College in England was another institution to train the young officers who were freshly recruited. Okay, so this is the another college, that is in the East India College. Okay. Now, many Indian young men were attracted to the civil services. So that time, actually, it was the government service. So that's why. So those were the young generation. They were very much attracted. Till 1853, the civil servants were appointed by the directions of the East India Company. So they were actually appointed by the direction of East India Company. So how East India Company given the direction, as per that they were appointed. But later written examination was instituted to make it prestigious and very competitive. So after first, actually those means those who wanted to those who want given the examination for civil service. So that time actually only they were appointed by the East India Company, but later actually written examination was held or started. It was extremely difficult for Indian to get selected because the exam was conducted in England and people couldn't afford going to England. So in that time that written examination conduct in Europe, and it's quite natural those who are the Indians they not be able to go over there. The medium of the exam was English, which was a foreign language for Indians, because those who are Indians actually they know their official language mainly Hindi, but English actually that time the foreign language, so it was also difficult for them. Another reason which made it difficult for Indians to get into civil services was that the maximum age for competing was very low. Okay, so it was the problem when Indians they interested to join in civil service exam or civil service exam you can say. So this total problem they were faced at that time. Now our next part is army. So from this part I will discuss in my next video, next class. So till, thank you.